Welcome to Literary Journeys with River. Today we continue exploring the Witcher Saga with Sword of Destiny, the second published book, where Geralt's story begins to revolve not only around monsters, but around bonds, choices, and consequences. Remember, this video is only a summary, not the full book, designed to help you understand the story and its key moments without reading the entire novel. If you enjoy this content, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Your interaction helps YouTube recommend the video and grow the channel. Let's get started. The Bounds of Reason, Chapter 1. In a ruined village, the locals anxiously watch the entrance to an underground tunnel where a witcher is believed to be fighting a fearsome basilisk. Assuming the witcher has perished, a stranger arrives with two Zerrikanian warrior women and protects the witcher's belongings. Tension fills the air until Geralt of Rivia emerges from the hole, dusty and dragging the beast's corpse. As he demands payment, he faces off against would-be thieves. One Zerrikanian swiftly decapitates a man, sending shock through the crowd. Geralt introduces himself and thanks the mysterious stranger, Borch 3 Jackdaws, who invites him to an inn called the Pensive Dragon. Geralt accepts, marking the beginning of an unlikely alliance with Borch and his formidable companions, whose true mission remains unknown. The story takes a sharp turn toward the unexpected. Chapter 2. At the Pensive Dragon Inn, Geralt, Borch 3 Jackdaws, and the Zerrikanians feast and drink copiously, engaging in a deep conversation about the Witcher's role between chaos and order. Borch questions Geralt's neutrality, while Geralt defends his freedom to choose. The talk shifts to dragons, and Geralt confesses he does not hunt true dragons, green, black, red, or white, and dismisses golden dragons as mere myths. Borch suggests that all legends hold some truth, challenging that belief. The Zerrikanians, increasingly tipsy, show signs of attraction toward Geralt, who senses tension beneath the camaraderie. Borch proposes a hot bath with beer and female company, and Geralt agrees, unaware that this night of indulgence and confessions will lead them to an adventure that challenges their beliefs about what is possible, real, and legendary. Chapter 3. At a bridge blocked by Caingorn soldiers, Geralt and Borch run into Jaskier, the bard. He tells them a green dragon has been spotted near Hollowpole and now rests in the Griffin Mountains after devouring sheep and surviving a deadly trap. Nidamir, young king of Caingorn, has closed the pass to claim the dragon's hoard and win a princess's hand through an ancient edict. Jaskier shares that many famed hunters are already on the trail. Ike of Denessel, the Crinford Reavers, and a group of dwarves led by Yarpen Zygrin. He also mentions a mysterious sorceress with piercing eyes. Their chat is interrupted when Deregere, a sorcerer, joins them. Through bribes and magic, they cross the bridge. As they move forward, a deeper truth emerges. Yennefer, the sorceress from Geralt's past, is also hunting the dragon. Destiny begins to intertwine dangerously. Chapter 4. In the camp near the mountains, the dragon hunters live in strained camaraderie. Boholt, leader of the Crinford Reavers, demands compensation and proposes a split. Half the treasure for the dragon slayer, a quarter for King Nidamir, and the rest for assistance. Yarpen Zygrin and his dwarves agree. Geralt remains distant, eyed with suspicion. Deregere and Yennefer, both mages, stir distrust. Yennefer arrives at the fire, firm and defiant, facing mockery with icy poise. Boholt insists they don't need her, confident the dragon will fall without magic. Though tensions rise, the king's conditions are accepted. Yennefer storms off, making it clear she won't forgive those who underestimate her. Beneath the illusion of unity, hidden agendas thrive. The dragon has yet to appear, but the power struggle has already begun. Chapter 5. Geralt finds Yennefer in the shadows beside a water bucket. The tension is palpable. Despite the years and unhealed wounds, their emotions are still intertwined. He tells her he came for her, not the dragon, but Yennefer, bitter and restrained, rejects the idea of reconciliation. She recalls how he left her without warning and makes it clear she has not, and will not, forgive him. Though they try to stay composed around others, their charged words reveal a deep, unresolved history. Yennefer declares there's nothing left between them and warns him against false hopes. She walks away, wounded but dignified, leaving Geralt alone under the stars, his heart heavy with sorrow and irony. Their shared wound still burns beneath the surface. Chapter 6. While traversing a narrow mountain path, Nidamir's convoy is struck by a landslide. Amid the chaos, Geralt rushes to save Yennefer, trapped with her horse. They hang from the collapsed bridge as the others look on. Jaskier pleads for help, but Gillenstein suggests waiting until Yennefer falls before saving Geralt. A magical rope rescues them both. After the ordeal, Geralt argues with Borch 3 jackdaws, revealing his existential emptiness and lack of purpose. De Regere, Yennefer, and Geralt debate the role of dragons in maintaining balance. Yennefer wants them extinct, De Regere wants them protected. Reaching the bridge becomes pivotal. An avalanche destroys it, and the survivors barely escape. Amid the turmoil, Geralt confesses his motivation is a void inside, while Borch hints that even he might have a destiny to uncover. Chapter 7. The group arrives in the valley and faces an impossible sight. A golden dragon, Valentretenmerth, calmly sitting and radiating power. Despite their doubts, Ike of Denessel demands an honorable duel. The fight is swift and brutal. The dragon defeats him with graceful speed. Yennefer begs Geralt to kill the dragon for her, revealing he might be her only chance to cure her infertility. Geralt refuses, wounded by emotion. Nidamir withdraws, showing his cold political calculus. The Reavers break the pact and prepare to strike. The dragon, through telepathy, gives them an ultimatum. Tensions flare. De Regere tries to stop the attack, but Yennefer betrays him. Geralt intervenes but is struck down by a spell. Tied beside De Regere and Jaskier, he watches chaos unfold until the dragon defies all expectations and charges straight at his enemies. Chapter 8. The Reavers attack the Golden Dragon but are taken down one by one with brutal precision. Hollopol's militia, led by Sheepbagger, arrives with nets and wagons to capture him. Valentretenmerth is briefly caught, but Yennefer, freed by a fire spell from Geralt, unleashes devastating magic, turning soldiers into frogs and destroying their gear. The Zerrikanians arrive on horseback, saving the dragon in a merciless assault. Sheepbagger dies gruesomely. The dragon protects his young, a newly hatched dragonling. Borch finally reveals his identity. He is Valentretenmerth, a golden dragon who took human form to protect the child of Myrtdebrak, a slain she-dragon. He tells Geralt and Yennefer they are meant for each other, yet doomed. Valentretenmerth flies away, leaving behind a final message. Even those who seem doomed can fulfill their purpose, if they dare to cross the bounds of reason. A Shard of Ice. Chapter 1. In the heart of Ed Jinval, Geralt confronts a monstrous Zuggle hidden beneath a reeking landfill. Surrounded by rotting cabbage and filthy rags, the Witcher engages in a brutal fight, the creature's tentacles threatening to drag him to a vile death. Trapped and covered in filth, Geralt resists with precision and strength, striking decisive blows until he drives his sword between the monster's glowing eyes. The Zuggle dies, decomposing amid the decay. Exhausted, the Witcher can barely breathe. The elixir's effects are wearing off, leaving him vulnerable. From atop the garbage heap, he gazes at the stars without making a wish, spitting in disgust. Nothing remains of the foe but the stench of victory. As a shooting star crosses the sky, Geralt bitterly utters a verdict that captures the city's soul. Garbage, dung, and shit. The night ends, but the burden of Ed Jinval is just beginning. Chapter 2. After the Zuggle battle, Geralt returns to the room where Yennefer awaits. Without turning from the mirror, she tells him to wash. She conjures a tub of seawater with a spell, indifferent to his fatigue. They converse with a mix of reproach and routine, surrounded by the familiar scent of lilac and gooseberries. Yennefer mentions Istrid, provoking jealousy in Geralt, and reflects on urban mutations like Zuggles, symbols of symbiosis between monsters and cities. Despite the chill of the elixirs, passion still sparks between them. Yennefer inspects him for hidden wounds. Then, as so many times before, They give in to one another in a mix of desire and weariness. The sorceress creates a black magical kestrel that watches from atop a mounted stag's antlers. In the end, Geralt admits that Edginville unsettles him deeply. She responds with an elven legend about shards of ice that wound the soul. The cold settles into their hearts. Chapter 3. Geralt wakes irritated by Yennefer's absence. Everything in Edginville feels hostile. The inn, the cold breakfast, the innkeeper harassing a girl, and the stench of garbage lingering in his clothes. Even in the baths, he's treated with suspicion for wearing his medallion. In a foul mood, he seeks the alderman, Herbolth, to claim the bounty for the Zugel. But first, he runs into Cicada, a feared mercenary, who holds Geralt's sword and issues veiled threats. After a tense exchange, Geralt reclaims the weapon. Herbolth, corrupt and sly, tries to haggle over the reward. They finally settle on 90 marks, taxes deducted. Geralt suspects Herbolth knows of his link to Yennefer and hints at her frequent visits to Istrid. Furious but restrained, Geralt leaves. The atmosphere in Edginville grows darker. The city reeks of tension, betrayal, and truths Geralt would rather not uncover. Chapter 4. Geralt visits Istrid's study, filled with books, jars, and preserved creatures. The mage begins with a charged intellectual tone, speaking of magic, hierarchy, and disdain for self-taught witchers. But the conversation quickly cuts to the heart. Yennefer. Istrid reveals he's asked her to stay with him permanently. He politely urges Geralt to step out of her life. Geralt responds with sarcasm and pride. Both exchange barbed words cloaked in philosophy, masking real pain. Istrid accuses Geralt of being incapable of feeling due to his mutations. Geralt denies this, defending his bond with Yennefer. Finally, Istrid delivers a sharp blow. He claims Yennefer was with him that very morning. Shocked and speechless, Geralt leaves. Nothing is resolved, but the conflict has reached its breaking point. Everything burns beneath the ice. Chapter 5. Yennefer enters the room where Geralt waits silently. She openly admits she came to Edginville to see Istrid, and confirms she was with him. She shows no guilt and reminds him she also loves him. The air fills with tension and restrained bitterness. Yennefer insists the choice isn't easy. With Istrid, she shares ambition. With Geralt, a visceral connection. Wounded, he responds coldly, invoking the elven tale of the Winter Queen and the ice shards that pierce the heart. She tries to console him but can't say the one word he longs to hear, nor can he say it. In a moment of magical power, Yennefer creates a second magical kestrel, revealing the first was not enough. Through spells and silent tears, she admits some gifts must not be accepted without offering something equal. In the end, only one truth remains. Truth itself is a shard of ice. Chapter 6. Geralt finds Istrid among ruins and archaeological digs. Their conversation is heavy with resentment and unspoken wounds. Istrid proposes settling the love triangle through a duel. No magic, just swords, like men. Geralt agrees, knowing neither can live with Yennefer's indecision. As servants eavesdrop, they agree to fight at dawn by the Green Key Well. In parting, both acknowledge the absurdity of the duel but accept it as necessary. They shake hands, knowing that no matter who wins, the cost will be solitude, retreat, and possibly Yennefer's rejection. The line has been crossed. These men are driven not by logic or hatred but by a silent, shared truth. Their love for Yennefer is a shard of ice, beautiful and painful, and impossible to remove. Chapter 7. In a dark tavern, Geralt drinks alone until Herbolth finds him. The alderman offers him 100 marks to leave Edginville before dawn and avoid the duel. Geralt rejects the bribe with contempt, insulting Herbolth and his corruption. Enraged, Herbolth threatens him, but Geralt disables him with a precise strike, driving a dagger between his fingers. Cicada steps in but halts when tensions peak. Shaking, Geralt senses a shift inside. Something has broken. From another table, a rat-faced man watches. That night, in a narrow alley, Geralt is ambushed by 2 armed men. Weaponless and without magical reflexes, He fights back but is overwhelmed. The attackers flee upon realizing he's a witcher. The rat-faced man lingers, staring at Geralt and whispering that if he wants to die, he shouldn't drag others down with him. Night falls with a bitter sense of defeat. Chapter 8. Geralt wakes injured after the ambush and silently prepares for the duel with Istredd. He secures his sword, ties his hair with a leather cord, and dons silver-ringed gloves. On his way to the well, he crosses paths with Cicada, who provokes him into a duel. In a burst of contained rage, Geralt beats him brutally, crushing his mouth and pride. When Cicada's men threaten retaliation, Geralt's icy stare sends them running. At the Green Key Well, Istredd waits with his sword and a black kestrel perched nearby. Tension peaks, yet Geralt refuses to fight. Confused and trembling, Istredd shows him a letter Yenna left at dawn. A goodbye. Geralt looks at him, delivers one last bitter truth, and walks away. The duel never happens. Only absence remains, and the echo of farewell. Chapter 9. After leaving Istredd behind, Geralt walks through Edginville streets, ignoring stairs, slammed doors, and the silence around him. His thoughts fixate on one thing, the letter waiting at the inn. He knows the black kestrel, soaked by rain, carries the same message Istredd received. Though he hasn't read it, he senses every word. Yennefer is gone. She has chosen not to choose. She understands that the love both men offer comes with impossible demands. In her farewell, she writes that truth is a shard of ice, repeating a phrase that has come to define the painful bond between them. Geralt quickens his pace, not out of hope, but to confirm the inevitable. There is no comfort in certainty, but perhaps a strange peace. Sometimes, the only victory is letting love freeze in silence. Eternal Flame. Chapter 1. In the bustling streets of Novigrad, Geralt runs into Jaskier amid a heated lover's quarrel with Vespula, who hurls objects from a balcony in rage. Their meeting leads to a stroll through the city and a stop at the Spearpoint Tavern, where they encounter the merchant Dainty Bibervelt. Suddenly, an identical Dainty appears, sparking a chaotic chase. The imposter is revealed to be a Doppler named Tellico Lungervink Latort, alias Dudu, capable of perfectly copying others' bodies and minds. After Geralt captures him, Dudu confesses to selling the real Dainty's horses and investing the money in absurd goods. Matters worsen when Schwan, a city official, demands taxes on Dudu's business. Meanwhile, a ruined and desperate Dainty starts planning to hunt the imposter, unaware that the story is about to take an unexpected turn in the city's alleys. Chapter 2. Dainty, Geralt, and Jaskier discuss how to track the Doppler in overflowing Novigrad. Sitting by a fountain, they ponder between frustrations, jokes, and the rising pressure of tax debt. Suddenly, they are surrounded by the henchmen of Chappelle, the sinister cleric of the Eternal Flame, flanked by guards wielding forbidden whips. The priest interrogates them and warns that rumors of Dopplers are heresy, as the city is protected by sacred shrines. He lets them go but demands complete silence. Chappelle offers Geralt a covert job, which the Witcher firmly declines. Then another merchant, Almazcleet, accuses Dainty of profiting from cochineal trade just before a revolution in Povis caused prices to soar. Though Dainty denies everything, the mystery is solved. The Doppler made a brilliant market move. Realizing this, Dainty proposes visiting banker Vimy Vivaldi for help. Chapter 3. Dainty, Geralt, and Jaskier visit Vimy Vivaldi's bank and discover that the Doppler has made surprisingly successful investments under the halfling's name. The banker explains that Dainty bought absurd products and took risky loans, even mortgaging his father-in-law's mill. However, a lucky trade involving cochineal and mimosa bark has now earned him over 21,000 crowns. Despite this sudden wealth, Dainty is deeply worried about Chappelle's interest in his affairs. Vivaldi suggests the Doppler may have exploited sensitive information and warns that the cleric's attention might have political implications. The scene ends with a messenger announcing that Dainty has placed more orders. Enraged, the real halfling demands a club to chase down the imposter. Chaos mounts as business surges and suspicions spread across Novigrad. Chapter 4. Geralt and Dainty pursue the Doppler through the packed western market while Jaskier stirs trouble with his music and provocations. The imposter runs with remarkable agility, forcing Geralt to use magical signs to stop him. The final confrontation takes place in a butcher shop, where the Doppler transforms into Geralt and mimics his every move. Yet the Witcher defeats him without violence, appealing to his conscience. Dudu admits he cannot mimic the darkest part of humanity, making him incapable of killing. When he tries to escape disguised as Jaskier, Vespula surprises him with a frying pan blow. Geralt wraps him in a rug and brings him to Chappelle, who reveals himself to be another Doppler. Dainty, pretending to be Dudu's cousin, appoints him as his legal representative. In the end, Dudu becomes a successful merchant crafting lamps for the altars of the Eternal Flame. All celebrate, including the cleric, pleased with the new order. A Little Sacrifice. Chapter 1. On the shores of Bremervoord, the mermaid Esechinaz rejects the pleas of Prince Aglovel, who wants to marry her but demands she trade her tail for human legs. Geralt tries to mediate, translating songs laced with irony and pride. The mermaid reminds the prince that love requires sacrifice and that she already risked herself for him by climbing the cliffs, while he refuses to give up his legs. Frustrated, Aglovel considers capturing her in a net, but Geralt warns of a Kraken attack. Tensions rise, insults fly, and Esechinaz ends the conversation by declaring she won't lower herself for someone unwilling to change for love. The prince lashes out in anger, while Geralt watches a relationship fall apart, doomed by a lack of understanding and unequal sacrifice. Chapter 2. Geralt and Jaskier, broke after the Aglovel affair, recall the chain of events that brought them to Bremervoord. It began in 4 Acorns, where Jaskier's lewd songs angered the foresters and led to a brawl that ruined the local festival. Accused alongside Geralt of seducing a mute girl, they were saved by Comes Calvillo but fined, leaving them penniless. They fled to the coast looking for work and landed in the mess between Aglovel and the mermaid. Despite their bad luck, Jaskier stays optimistic. Soon, a merchant named Tellery Drauhard offers them money to perform at his son's engagement feast. Jaskier hesitates but agrees upon hearing the fee. Geralt joins him, hoping for food and rest. This leads them into a new circle, where they meet Essie Davin, a young bard also hired for the event. Chapter 3. At the banquet, Jaskier reunites with Essie Davin, nicknamed Starry Eyes, a gifted young bard who sings sweetly and parries his teasing with wit. Geralt is drawn to her gaze and spirit but wounds her with his coldness. Later, on the terrace, he tries to apologize with a kiss, but Essie gently stops him, making it clear she doesn't seek one-night affection. Meanwhile, Aglovel calls for Geralt and shares troubling news. A boat vanished near the dragon's teeth, leaving only blood behind. His steward Zealist suspects a sea monster. With panic spreading, Aglovel hires Geralt to investigate at dawn. The Witcher accepts, beginning a new job. From across the hall, Essie sings a ballad as the night unfolds with unspoken promises. Chapter 4. That night, Jaskier returns to their room and mocks Geralt for his interest in Essie. In a conversation full of sarcasm and truth, he reveals he's known Essie since childhood and sees her as a sister. He warns Geralt not to hurt her with foolishness. Irritated, Geralt defends himself, but Jaskier accuses him of treating Essie's curiosity like fascination with a rare animal. The attempted kiss, he says, was pride reacting to rejection, not real desire. Geralt stays silent, knowing there's truth in his words. Jaskier brings up Yennefer, implying Geralt is still trapped by that past. Despite mild insults, the talk ends unresolved. The night falls heavy with what remains unsaid, as both lie under a weak roof and a fading candle. Chapter 5. At dawn, Essie surprises Geralt at the pier, curious about his hunt for the monster that killed the fisherman. They walk along the shore, exchanging thoughts. With no boat or crew, Geralt suspects the attack came from above, not the sea. Essie shows surprising knowledge of sea beasts, impressing him. Aglovel interrupts them, furious that Esechinaz missed their meeting. He blames Geralt and demands results, citing the starving fishing families. Essie stands up to him with dignity, reminding him of his duties. After the tense scene, Geralt decides to fulfill the contract. Essie offers to help, but he declines. Their talk shifts to ethics. What if the mermaid is guilty? Geralt insists his code, not his feelings, guides his actions. Essie hides growing feelings behind a strong face as they watch the stormy sea together. Chapter 6. At low tide, Geralt and Jaskier explore the rocks near Dragon's Teeth. They find a crab-eaten corpse and, soon after, submerged ruins that suggest a sunken city. Jaskier dreams of the lost city of Ys, but Geralt suspects something more sinister. Suddenly, water erupts and a sea monster attacks. Geralt kills it, but others appear. In a fierce underwater battle, he wounds many but gets trapped, badly hurt. Using a magic sign, he escapes, promising to find Yennefer if he lives. A siren saves him by blowing a conch, scattering the beasts. He reaches shore just before the tide drags him back. Reuniting with Jaskier, they realize the sea hides far darker secrets than they imagined. Chapter 7. Wounded, Geralt is tended by Essie, who stitches his arm with care. Jaskier jokes to ease the mood, but emotions run high. Amid bandages and teasing, Essie finds a blue shell holding a beautiful pearl. Jaskier, grinning, claims it's Geralt's birthday gift to her. Overwhelmed, Essie confesses she loves the Witcher. Geralt, confused and weak, says nothing. She cries, feeling foolish, but admits she can't help how she feels. She begs him to send her away, but stays. Geralt comforts her, struggling with his emotional incapacity. She hopes for a sign, but he can't give one. Still haunted by Yennefer, Essie accepts the truth with quiet dignity, says goodbye in silence, and leaves a trail of unfulfilled tenderness. The blue pearl becomes a symbol of a small sacrifice never made. Chapter 8. Geralt warns a Glovel of the deadly threat from the creatures near Dragon's Teeth, but the prince scoffs, accusing him of failure. In front of his court, a Glovel mocks the Witcher for lacking physical proof and refuses to pay. Jaskier and Essie leap to Geralt's defense. Essie confronts the prince, calling him a dishonorable tyrant only interested in wealth. Caught off guard, a Glovel has no reply. Then Chinez bursts in, now with human legs, proving her love and sacrifice. She declares she has lost nothing, not even her voice, and chooses a Glovel. The prince falls to his knees, moved. The mermaid forgives him and confirms her love, revealing that she, too, has made her little sacrifice. Chapter 9. Geralt, Jaskier, and Essie leave Bremervoord in silence, each nursing wounds. Jaskier talks non-stop to break the tension, while Geralt and Essie remain quiet. At the Edelate River, they stop to rest. Essie, tired of not knowing, demands clarity. Geralt can't give her what she wants. He cares but cannot love her. Before emotions shatter them, Jaskier storms in, forces them to talk, and leaves to fish. Under a willow, Geralt gently confesses his truth. Essie weeps, then accepts it. They embrace, and for one night, they give themselves to each other, not out of promise but need. It's not eternal love, but a mutual desire to feel human, even if just once. Chapter 10. The next day, the three friends share a farewell dinner in the forest. They buy lamb, steal vegetables, and patch up an old pot with Geralt's magic. Around the fire, Essie sings and laughs, Jaskier jokes, and Geralt watches with quiet longing. They drink, share memories, and unknowingly find what they'd been searching for: real connection. After an emotional duet, Essie rests beside Geralt, holds him, and peacefully falls asleep. Later, alone by the fire, Jaskier composes a ballad about a witcher and a bard who fall in love on the coast. He knows it isn't true, but the song speaks of a love so strong not even death could end it. Years later, Essie dies of smallpox. Jaskier buries her with her lute and the blue pearl. He never sings that ballad. Not once. The Sword of Destiny. Chapter 1. In the sacred forest of Brokilon, Geralt finds corpses pierced by arrows marked with pheasant feathers. Clear warning signs that humans ignore. Upon finding Zywiecki dying, the Witcher discovers he was trying to protect a princess. But before he can help, Geralt is intercepted by 3 armed dryads. He is guided by Bren, a young one who leads him toward Duin Canel. Along the way, they rescue a girl who nearly dies from a scolopendromorph attack. It is Ciri, a runaway princess with a strong character. She claims to fear nothing, not even Brokilon, and declares she does not want to marry Prince Kistrin. Geralt, irritated by her behavior, tries to reason with her. Although the girl shows pride, she eventually agrees to go with them. With no option to return to Verdun, they all venture deeper into the forest, while the Witcher suspects that Idoness may decide the future of the little one who seems bound by destiny. Chapter 2. Bren leads Geralt and Ciri through the hidden paths of Brokilon, a place filled with deadly traps and whistles that warn of unseen presences. Ciri, sick with a cold and stubborn, reveals herself as a child with an indomitable spirit, daughter of a deceased couple and raised by her powerful grandmother, a queen. Geralt senses that the girl was not simply abandoned. She is a sidelined princess, an inconvenient burden being prematurely married off for political convenience. At night, the 3 share warmth around an improvised campfire and Ciri demands a bedtime story. Geralt tells a tale about a clever cat and a trusting fox, bringing smiles and reflection to the girl and the dryad. Though the story seems harmless, Ciri interprets it as a subtle message about her escape. Before sleeping, she tells Geralt that she is bound by destiny, that her mother was a sorceress, and that not even her grandmother will be able to stop the fate that awaits her. Chapter 3. During a break in the journey, Ciri curls up among the branches with Geralt and Bren. Amid protests and laughter, the Witcher manages to get the girl to admit her fear of returning to her grandmother. Ciri does not want to marry Kistrin, she does not wish to be a princess, and claims she is bound by destiny through her mother's magical bloodline. Geralt tries to calm her with jokes, but also confronts her firmly, commanding respect when her insolence overflows. Their relationship grows stronger with each step, blending tenderness with discipline. In a quiet moment, Ciri asks for a story, and Geralt tells the fable of the cat and the fox, where simple cleverness defeats vanity. Bren listens as well, silently moved. That night, they all sleep embraced in the heart of the forest. While Brokilon whispers above them, Geralt reflects on the girl. He knows her destiny is greater than any marriage or title, and that her life is only just beginning. Chapter 4. The next day leads them through the majestic trees of Brokilon, a sacred place where even Ciri falls silent, overwhelmed by their size and solemnity. The giant trunks and the forest's hushed shadows inspire awe at every step. Then, through thick bushes and damp hills, Ciri keeps complaining about her cold, while Geralt patiently teaches her to wipe her nose with her fingers. Before arriving at Duin Canel, Bren blindfolds the Witcher as per protocol, and Ciri insists on guiding him herself. They walk among flowers, squirrels, and streams, and Ciri describes everything in wonder, while Geralt listens without seeing a thing. In the end, the Witcher explains that Brokilon is the last place, a separate world, misunderstood and feared. Ciri doesn't grasp the deeper meaning of those words, but Geralt does. He knows they are entering a sanctuary where the girl's fate will be decided with no turning back. Chapter 5. In the hidden sanctuary of Duin Canel, Geralt reunites with Zywiecki, rescued from the brink of death. Despite his mocking tone, the Baron acknowledges his new condition. He will be used by the Dryads as a stud. The arrival of Idon brings silence and reverence. Firmly, the Lady of the Forest rejects Geralt's pleas to release Ciri, and makes clear that the girl is necessary for Brokilon's survival. According to her, each human girl turned into a Dryad represents a response to the violence of men. As tension builds, Idon expresses her contempt for the outside world, stating that her people will no longer accept submission. Geralt understands that the will of the forest is unbreakable. Brokilon is not just a refuge, but a bastion of ancestral resistance. Surrounded by the living magic of the place, Geralt and Ciri face an inevitable decision. The girl's fate will be tested through a sacred trial. Chapter 6. Under the watchful eyes of Geralt and Bren, Ciri receives the sacred water of Brokilon from Ith, an infusion capable of erasing memories and shaping new dryads. If the girl forgets who she is, she will remain in the forest. Ciri drinks without hesitation but does not lose her identity. She remembers her name, her lineage, and her purpose. Her mind resists the magic, revealing an unexpected inner strength. Surprised, Aiden realizes that Ciri cannot be claimed by Brokilon. Though she does not admit it in words, the Dryad grudgingly grants that the girl must leave. Geralt, silent and observant, understands that he has won without fighting. Ciri has passed the forest's oldest trial, one that even ancient magic could not break. The girl thus becomes an exception among thousands, and Aiden gives her a gift no one receives: freedom. Both depart knowing that destiny has just revealed its true face. Chapter 7. After leaving Brokilon, Geralt and Ciri journey through woods and dew-covered paths. Ciri plays, laughs, and tells absurd stories to the Witcher, who pretends not to listen but watches her closely. In the middle of a clearing, the girl falls, and he runs to help her without thinking. During a pause by a hollow tree, Ciri asks if he will take her home, but Geralt avoids answering. The girl insists that he is part of her destiny, repeating words she heard in dreams. Geralt, moved, tries to deny the bond, but knows it is inevitable. He recalls the past, the law of surprise, and the night Duny asked for something he did not yet know. Ciri is that gift sealed by fate, that impossible debt to ignore. When the girl falls asleep in his lap, the Witcher finally accepts that she belongs to him, and without a doubt, he belongs to her as well. Chapter 8. In a forest clearing, Mousesack reveals to Geralt that Calanthe has cancelled Ciri's wedding plans and that the girl will be taken directly to Cintra. The druid insists that Ciri is bound to the Witcher, reminding him that their paths have crossed 3 times and that the oath of the law of surprise still weighs on them. Geralt, tired and skeptical, rejects the bond, arguing that he does not want to turn a child into a Witcher. Though Mousesack urges him to seize the chance to form a healthy bond with her, the Witcher refuses. He says goodbye coldly, hiding his true feelings, and leaves alone. But when Ciri sees him walking away, she runs after him, crying out desperately that he is her destiny. Geralt, heart torn, disappears into the forest, denying the inevitable. As he walks away, he hears only her voice calling from the hilltop. She is his destiny, even if he refuses to accept it. Something more. Chapter 1. On a lonely bridge, Jurga, a terrified merchant, hides beneath his stuck cart upon hearing approaching hoofbeats. The rider who arrives is a man with white hair and a black cloak, whose voice inspires a strange sense of trust. Warning him of the danger lurking beneath the bridge, the stranger urges Jurga to flee, but Jurga refuses to abandon his goods. He pleads for help, offering anything the stranger desires in exchange for his life. The rider, revealing himself to be a Witcher, demands whatever Jurga finds at home upon return and does not expect. Jurga agrees, trembling. The Witcher prepares, draws his silver sword, and confronts deformed monsters that emerge from the darkness. Amid the battle, Jurga is attacked, but the Witcher saves him with a precise slash. Gravely wounded, he collapses beside the cart. Paralyzed by horror and blood, Jurga finally understands the price of his salvation and the weight of his debt. Chapter 2. In the pitch-dark night, Jurga tries to save the unconscious Witcher who rescued him from the attack beneath the bridge. With the help of his servants, he manages to lift him into the cart, where they try to contain the bleeding from his wounds. As the wagon slowly advances through mountainous paths, the Witcher trembles, delirious, and mutters a name with trembling lips: Yennefer. Jurga, moved and confused, tries to understand who this woman is that Geralt seems to cling to for life. Meanwhile, the situation turns critical. The bandages soak with blood, the Witcher's body burns with fever, and his condition worsens rapidly. In a desperate effort, Jurga gives him some spirits to drink, but the Witcher continues to rave. Yennefer's name echoes amid the chaos, floating like a thread of hidden meaning. Jurga, determined to fulfill his part of the pact, continues the journey with the dying Witcher, unaware of what future awaits them. Chapter 3. As the wagon moves along, Geralt briefly regains consciousness, wounded and feverish, and guides Yurga to help him take a magical potion. Then, in dreams or memories, Geralt sees himself at the Bellatine festival, surrounded by bonfires, music, and desire. A young woman tries to seduce him, but he walks away, disturbed. Then Yennefer appears, majestic and distant, and time stands still. They speak with restrained tension, reliving their past without saying it outright, and finally embrace. Their passion sweeps them away among kisses and caresses on a cloak spread over the moss. After making love, Yennefer weeps, knowing their bond is marked by pain. They speak of their shared destiny, of how impossible it is to remain together despite their love. Before dawn, Yennefer asks him to go to Sintra and not run from fate. As the sky lightens and the chill returns, they both understand that love is not enough. To be together, it takes something more. Chapter 4. Wounded, Geralt travels with Yurga towards Sodden, recalling a promise made 6 years earlier. Upon arriving in Sintra, he meets Queen Calanthe, who confronts him harshly, with sarcasm and a challenge to recognize the child of surprise among a group of boys. Geralt refuses to play along, declines to take the child, though he longs for him in silence. The queen, puzzled, senses that it's not disinterest but fear. Their conversation unveils old wounds, dilemmas of fatherhood, the trial of the grasses, and the limits of destiny. In the end, Geralt renounces Pavetta's child and leaves. As Calanthe watches him go, she realizes that perhaps that renunciation was part of destiny too. But in the Witcher's eyes lingers a doubt. What if destiny really exists? What if it's not enough? What if, despite everything, it always takes something more? Chapter 5. In a forest clearing, Geralt awakens amid fever and visions after surviving his wounds. A young sorceress, Vicenna, tends to him with precision, calm, and firmness. He recognizes in her gestures, her voice, and her magic a strange, almost painful closeness. The medallion vibrates. There is powerful magic in her. As she heals him, Geralt gently questions her, probing for the truth beneath her silences. Vicenna reveals her name, he knows it. Little by little, the conversation uncovers a long-repressed certainty. Vicenna is his mother. He tries to look into her eyes, seeking answers, reproach, understanding, or just a gesture. But she, with restrained tenderness, puts him to sleep with a spell before he can ask what he's always wanted to know. In the magical dimness of the camp, the Witcher understands that there are things neither destiny nor magic can heal, and that some answers always arrive too late. Chapter 6. On the road to Yurga's village, Geralt talks with the merchant while the landscape still shows fresh scars of war. Yurga speaks with hope and gratitude about the sorcerers who fought in the Second Battle of Sodden, especially the 14 who died on the Hill of Mages. Geralt listens in silence, affected by the names mentioned, including Triss Merigold. While the merchant praises Vicenna without knowing who she truly is, the Witcher restrains himself, struggling with emotion. Upon hearing the names of the fallen engraved in stone, his face turns pale. The people's gratitude, the indelible memory, the sacrifice, and hope move Yurga, who repeats that life is possible thanks to those who fell. For him, that is something more than destiny, something more than legend. Geralt, broken and silent, nods, and finally understands that, even in the face of death, something more remains. Chapter 7. Geralt climbs with difficulty to the mountain's summit, where the obelisk honoring the 14 fallen mages of the Battle of Sodden stands. The stone is surrounded by wildflowers and engraved with names, among them those of Triss Merigold and other old acquaintances of the Witcher. As he reads them, faces from the past return to his memory. Then a female figure appears, shrouded in an ethereal aura. It is Death. She speaks to Geralt, reminding him how she has followed him all his life, how she has taken those around him. He no longer feels fear, but she shows him that it still lingers. Geralt finally utters the name of the 14th fallen, Yennefer of Vengerberg. She confirms that the flowers were meant for her and offers him her hand. But it is not his time. She bids farewell, promising to return. Geralt wakes, confused by the warmth, and sees that the last name on the stone is not Yennefer. Chapter 8. While traveling in the cart, Jurga tries to fulfill his promise to Geralt by offering one of his sons as a witcher's apprentice. Geralt rejects the offer, but Jurga insists. If destiny willed it so, it must be done. Amid their conversation, they reach a chaotic crossing. Soldiers fleeing, the army retreating, civilians crowding to cross the Yaruga. There, Geralt reunites with Dandelion, who warns him of the war's magnitude. Nilfgaard is not merely invading, it is razing everything in its path. Chaos reigns. As Geralt plans to help Dandelion cross, the bard reveals a devastating truth. Cintra has been destroyed, Calanthe is dead, and no one survived the tower. Geralt asks about Ciri, but Dandelion knows nothing. The Witcher, devastated, sits among autumn leaves. He no longer wants to hear more. Though he has spoken of destiny all his life, now he knows that to face it, believing is not enough. It always takes something more. Chapter 9. Jurga returns home amid embraces and tears with his wife, Duratita. She reveals that during his absence, she took in an orphan girl saved from the war by druids. Jurga, stunned, realizes that the pact made on the bridge has been fulfilled. The girl, with ashen hair, approaches among Jurga's children. Upon seeing Geralt, she runs to him, shouting his name. He turns, kneels, and embraces her. Ciri wraps her arms around him and, through tears, exclaims that she knew he would find her, that she always knew. She begs him to promise they will now be together forever. Geralt, moved, answers yes, that they will be together. When she asks if it is her destiny, he, looking at her with a depth of emotion that even moves Jurga, answers with certainty. She is not just his destiny. She is something more. What gives meaning to everything, what begins a new story. This brings us to the end of Sword of Destiny, the book where Geralt begins to realize that fate is not something he can simply ignore. Thank you for joining this literary journey. If you found the summary helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it with someone who wants to understand the emotional core of the Witcher saga. Now tell us in the comments, which story from this book stayed with you the most? And which moment with Ciri do you consider the most important?